Hey, besties. Let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? You know, it's funny to me that all of a sudden, since Portia interacted with Ralph at the table with Shamia, it's funny how now Portia is no longer tripping off of Drew and Dennis. You can't make this stuff up. Portia. Well, welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade, and thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Now let's kiki and haha and get into another episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 12, chapter 1, Reset. How would you rate this week's episode, besties? Eh, it was okay. It wasn't a lot of just, it was okay. We got some resolve between Portia and Drew, so that's good. The girls' trip, we made it safely, except for Shamia's luggage. To me, it's a good solid, I'll give it a solid 7. Drop down the comments, besties, and let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Please make sure to like my video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and make sure your notification bell is on, ding dong, so that you know each and every time I post my content. Now let's get into Phaedra's tagline, child. I've returned from the dead. Put those two together. Now let's bury the past for good. Huh. That sounds like production wrote that for her. I don't think she wrote it. It don't sound Phaedra-ish to me. But we'll take it. But we gonna bury the past. We ain't forgot about the past, honey, but whatever. Okay, whatever. We'll get into it. It's fine. It's fine. So the episode starts, child. Shamia is teaching her daughter how to donate. And you know, if you have kids, they can have 2,000 toys. And if you want to get rid of two of them, you are just ruining their lives. They just do not understand why they can't have all 25 toys. So Shamia's teaching her how to pay it forward. You know, you are a blessing by being a blessing and you'll get more blessings. So the ladies are now donating to Grenada. They want to send it before they come because they don't want to pack it all up. So they got supplies, like everyone, they got water. Like even Kelly came over to Shamia's house. Her whole Escalade was packed down full of water. Shamia got loads and loads and loads of stuff from herself, the kids, probably her husband. There's goodies. Cynthia donated. Portia says she gave money. And child, and Drew donated too. Everybody did. But here comes Britt, honey. She talking about Shamia told her at the last minute, so she just had to, she made it seem like she didn't have time to get it together. But she comes over and tells them that someone is gonna drop by and drop things off. And so Shamia's like, but when? Because they're coming at such and such o'clock. So the timeline is short, right? So Britt, which is funny, we know she's lying because Britt shows up with these cheap old looking dollar store packs of toilet paper, 3 packs of them. And she's like, here. And we all know that girl don't know how to plan an event. She don't know how to show up for people. She don't know how to do things. So we know she's lying. And them 3 packs of toilet paper is about all she came with and all she gonna contribute. Because clearly there's no money. She tried to act like she got money, but I don't think she does. So Shamia makes a little key about her donations being like a bare and naked. Nothing's in it. Okay. And so we all know, and I don't know if you guys know, but we don't take any credibility from Brit. And Shamia made a comment at the end of this episode that they left her event hungry. Now, I don't know if you guys heard, but in these YouTube streets, honey, Brit is being sued. The country club is suing her for like $10,000, for taking over a room and didn't rent it out properly and didn't reserve it to have her event. And that's why they didn't have things set up right, because it wasn't even approved for her to be there. The caterer is suing her for like $1,400, $1,500. And I think the country club is suing her for like 10,000. Child, a mess. So Britt tells Kelly and Shamia that her event was stressful and it wasn't the experience that she wanted with the event planner and this and that and that. And she's talking about like how she would do things. And we all know that she lied to get in there. She perpetrated a fraud, and now everybody's suing her because I just told you. So she brought up Drew, and Shabia said, "Oh, yeah, she's standing down on 10 toes about, calling her a lap dog." And Shamia, you kind of are a lap dog, okay? It's okay. Now Kelly is being your lap dog. So Kelly hopes that they all can reset, renew, and rebirth when they get to Grenada. That is her intent for this group. So Shamia tells them that she and Portia talked. They have evolved and they will keep working at their friendship. Now, that was a very, very important point and very good to mention, because when you've been friends with people since you were a kid, you guys need to give each other that space to evolve. Stop holding me at who I was when I was 13. See me for who I am now and for what I have done and grown into, right? So that's good that you do evolve. Give me the space to evolve and rock with it, because you should be evolving too, correct? Yes. And they're working on their friendship. And we all know how that ended. But what I said, it might just be storyline. So anyway, Portia meets with Drew for tea. Child, this was the worst. So Drew is there first. She has some tea. Portia comes and gets something. The lady's telling her all the other teas that they had. Now Drew wants the turmeric and ginger tea. But baby, we'll get to that. So Drew tells her, like, hey, check this out, home chick. I am signed to Dennis's label. And my album release showcase is coming up. Check that tea. Rubbing it all in Portia's face. Did y'all see that look Portia gave her? So remember, Portia says that this is not important to her. It's a 2 out of 10 for her on her importance level. And it's like, yeah, okay. So, child, the little cafe, they done ran out of turmeric and ginger tea. You know they must be black owned. Because everybody else runs out of stuff, but not like us. So they done ran out, and that's bad for them, because I bet you people are like, oh, I don't want to go there. So Drew is forcing this girl to come up with something. Can you make me something? I'm simple, because I need it for my throat, my vocal cords. My vocal cords. I'm trying to get sick. I need some turmeric and some ginger for my throat. Child, away, I would have gave her some lemons. Suck on these, okay? So they want to finally talk before they go on their trip, to hash things out. Drew says they could have talked a long time ago, because she had been calling Portia. Okay, and Portia was the one who was paying her dust. Okay, so Portia says she was upset, and that's why she couldn't communicate well. She was like, it was just best for her to be quiet. Um, and I'm just gonna say this. I understand that, but you wasn't that upset with Dennis to where you wasn't communicating with him. You was fussing and cussing with him. So you could have told that girl something. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to know this is Dennis's doing. He's putting you up to this and making you frustrated because he's getting his lick back on how you just uh, brought Simon into the fold. Okay. So Portia says she talked to Dennis. And so she was like, she said, "Well, no, like, you talked to Dennis, and it just seems like you guys were." He wanted to clear his name about the rumor that you guys were romantically involved because they was not, and that was something that Portia made that narrative in her mind. Drew says, all the accusations make her uncomfortable because it's a lie. Drew. Drew confronts her about filming with Ralph. Yes, girl, yes, because Angela's big mouth told her. And so Drew said, this feels petty. And it's like, Portia knew he was going to be there. So Portia says that Dennis told her Drew's dating Black. I think that's the other producer at the studio. Drew denies it because we all know that Dennis be lying. Come on, Portia. You know Dennis be lying. How do I know that? And you got a baby with him. So Drew says she's going through a messy divorce and she's not dating anyone. Like, stop throwing that on me, okay? And I must say, Drew is handling all of this well because everybody is coming at Drew for some strange reason. And it's like, what did Drew do? And isn't she going through enough? Her divorce is very messy because her husband is downstairs dogging her out. At least, like Kelly's husband, I guess he's an ex now. Yeah, he's still dogging her out, but at least she don't have to live with him. At least Portia don't have to live with Simon. So goodness gracious. So Portia is just prying into Drew's dating life, and I don't get why you are trying to make Drew tell you who she's giving her kitty cat to. Is this some kind of ploy to bring up Ty? Maybe I'm wondering. So she's going to Black so she can say no. I don't know what Portia's aim is, but it's not Black. Okay. So Drew brings up that Portia is dating someone and they keep bleeping out his name, honey. But I had to find out. Child, they talking about Future. Allegedly, Future, the rapper, Sierra's baby daddy, and everybody else's baby daddy. Child, I said, I know you lie. Come on, Portia, don't do that. Now, come on now. Portia says she's not dating him. Drew is like, well, we can throw names out all day. And I'm like, Drew, you don't want her to do that because she about to say Ty next. So Drew's new tea come. It's the black tea. Drew was like, oh, I don't want it. No, oh no. Child, but I saw later that tea was sitting in front of Drew, baby. Drew already, they was like, here, you gonna take it anyway. So Portia talking about, yeah, she got the black tea because she messing with Black. Perfect for Drew. Okay, not funny. It didn't land, but we get it. Okay, Portia. Okay. Drew tells Portia that she's going through a divorce too. And, this smoke that she has for Drew isn't real. Child, Portia was like, but I'm not finished, but I'm not finished. And here go Portia's line. I don't want to argue with you. Drew is telling her that she's throwing out false things and they go back and back again, honey. And it's just like one thing about Drew, I do feel like everybody's coming after her, but how she approaches and how she treats people, she don't let you talk, she cuts you off, and it's kind of silly. My definition, my description for Drew is silly. She argues very silly. And so they go back and forth and back again. Now they're talking about each other's energy and their vibe is combative and it's you're combative. No, you're combative. Child Drew says, I've done nothing to you, Portia. And Child the princess got up and left the building, honey. She got up, she got in her car, she drove off, honey. And Drew says Portia does not know how to have an adult conversation and she can't take accountability and she can't and she won't. I think that's me saying that. That wasn't Drew. I'm saying that. Drew says she sees why Simon is leaving her. And she said, and I see why Shamia wants to leave her. I was like, wow, the shade, Drew, the shade. So Portia says Drew is trying to poke her with a divorce, whatever that means. She thought they could talk and move forward, but she says these bitchs ain't getting her energy. And vroom she goes. And it's like, Portia, all you had to do was let her finish so you could finish. And then you guys reach a resolution. And it didn't have to be, you didn't have to agree on the resolution, but to get up and walk and leave like that, like you got nothing accomplished. So Portia was like, all you talked about was, and to me, besties, all Portia was asking was who was she dating? She wanted her to confirm that she was dating. Now I don't know if I told you guys, but I heard that Ming Lee, that's on Basketball Watch. I'll recap them tonight. She's from Atlanta. And from what I hear, because of Ty and Drew's shenanigans, she want them girls to come for Drew is what I found out. Now, me, Lee, I'm surprisingly enough, I don't know much about her, but for you to have that much say in a whole nother show with other women to make them do what you want behind your woman, ex-woman, that's very rich. That is very rich. How much are you paying us? Okay. So yeah, Portia, you got nothing accomplished because you're trying to figure out who Drew's sleeping with. And it's pretty much that's not your business, but it's your mentality. So she shut all that down and you had nothing else to say. And I like that how Drew shut all that down. So she brought up Ralph, and you said nothing about Ralph. We didn't get it. They must have cut it out. You said something on your confessional, blah, blah, about you didn't know he was going to be there, blah, blah, blah. But we got away with her not saying anything, and I hope Andy clocks that at the reunion because she did not answer Drew about how that her and Ralph came about. So the ladies are packing for the girls' trip. And over at Kelly's, she's telling the girls that she's going out of town and that she, excuse me, might need some water. She won't be there for their first day of school. And I felt that to be very like, well, why didn't you schedule this trip at another time? You guys couldn't have done it a week before. Like, it just seemed a little, I don't know. I don't want to say it, but careless, I'll say, as a mother. That seems very careless, Kelly, that you don't want to be there for the first day of school. It's not like all of your kids are Chloe's age, where it may not matter as much, but those how old are those girls? Like 8 and whatever? Like, girl, you got to be there. So Uncle Lamont will take her place and take the kids to school. She has 4 kids, 2 are twins, so she has to drop them off at 3 different schools. So she goes downstairs to tell Uncle Lamont, who is her publicist, and he's like family. And he was like, no problem, I'll take them. And he was like, what time? And so she's telling them what the sequence is. Drop the twins off first, then Chloe, and then the last one. And the first drop off is at 7 a.m. So then Uncle Lamont tells Kelly that he called her ex-husband because they're all close. They had a friendship and, he just wanted to, see how things are going. Like maybe try to smooth things out, let him talk, kind of get some reasoning. So Mr. Ex-husband, I can't think of his name. Is it Mark, Matt, Mark? I think it's Mark. He said, so what did he say? So Lamont was like, he was saying a lot of no's, just no to this, no to that. No, he don't want to see the kids. No, he don't want to get along with you. No, 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 no. So this makes her cry. Kelly's kind of tearing up because he's choosing not to be a parent. And you can't do that, right? You're not supposed to turn it off, turn it on, and she has to be one every day. And granted, she needs this trip, but Kelly, the first day, you're gonna miss out on the first day of school with them babies. Like, okay, girl. Okay, you better be on that FaceTime though. You better be on that FaceTime. So at the airport, everyone's showing up. Angela meets Phaedra for the first time. Here go Phaedra. No, Angela says she thinks Phaedra is a lot of fun and will put what she's heard about her on the back burner. Phaedra says Angela has the oldest, youngest looking face and hopes her personality is younger than her face. Now, Phaedra, you're 51 years old. Yeah, you're like 8 years older than her. What are you talking about? You look light skinned in your confessionals. When you first graced the scene, you were brown. You look light skinned, all on your chest and your face. And it's clear you have had plenty of surgeries. You've had a lot of work done on your face. Because when they do those flashbacks to when you was first on there back in 2012, baby, you don't look anything like that, Phaedra. And it's not just the makeup. So could you please shut and up, please? You cannot talk about nobody. Angela, but I get what she's saying. Angela says she's 43, 44, but she looks older, but she is beautiful. I get what you're saying, but it was very shady on how you said it. And I want this comment to come up at the reunion. I sure do, honey. I do, I do, I do. So, baby, they arrived to Grenada safely. Shamia's bags were left in Atlanta. She won't get them for 24 hours. And, baby, I found out that she was arguing with one of the workers or telling the worker, make sure my baggage gets on this plane. And the lady kind of gave her some stank, like, don't worry, I will. This is my job. And honey, that lady kept that luggage off that flight. they said, they said, uh, Angela, no, Shamia, they said Shamia ticked her off, honey. and she made sure that luggage didn't make it. Ain't that a mess? And then, did y'all see when they got there? Shamia had two carry ons. She had a small luggage, small piece of luggage, and a duffel bag, all Louis Vuitton, might I add. And I'm thinking, y'all only staying for 4 or 5 days. How come everything didn't fit in there? I know she probably all her things. Trust me, I know. And I did hear later on that she did pack two other outfits because I was about to go into my thing. You know me, besties. I got to teach. It was my moment to teach. It was a teaching moment. I was gonna say, anytime you travel, especially out of the country, pack 2 to 3 outfits. Okay. Underwear. Make sure you got a little lotion. Take a face towel. Take 1 or 2 face towels. And then something, they got wet pouches. Like you could put wet clothes in, like your swimsuits. Get a wet pouch. Pack your stuff, your deodorant. Pack some, a couple of days to where you will be okay because it is very common to not get your luggage when you go out of the country. Um, my trip last summer, we didn't have our luggage for 3 or 4 days. Child, it was a mess. Some people did not pack extra, and I had to look at their same outfits for 3, 4, 5 days. They said they was up hand washing their clothes, using a blow dryer to dry their stuff. I was like, wow, yes. Pack light stuff, sundresses, tank tops, little pieces of leggings, pieces of leggings, yoga pants, socks. Keep like whatever shoe you have on, be okay to wear that shoe. Don't pack a whole bunch of shoes unless they're really flat. But get some extra stuff in there because underwear, child, soap, towel, little face towel. You might have to hit your pockets up and stuff. So deodorant, lotion, toothbrush. Make sure that stuff is in your carry-on. Okay, back to this. So they get in this. They of course it's about 8 of them, right? So they get in two different vans. So Phaedra asks, okay, so who got beef? She was like, where's the beef? Who got the beef? What's up? So they like Drew. And so Phaedra in her confessional, she like, okay, yeah, I hear she's a child actress. She can't dress. She been in some black movies. Was she on Soul Train? She has a very interesting vibe. Okay, no, Phaedra, that girl was not on no Soul Train. Drew says she's been beefing with Shamia. They have a little misunderstanding. They be lying about something. Drew lied about speaking 5 languages, and Drew says she meant it as she speaks all 5 love languages. That's the language that she speaks. Whatever, Drew. You always got some comeback to cover up your lie. So they get to their villas, and of course, Kelly and Shami are sharing the master, the best suite they have. So Portia finds out, oh, we're gonna be sharing rooms with girls. Oh, okay, yep, sure is. So Britt and Phaedra will be in their room. Angela and Portia will be together. Angela says that's fine because Charles is safe at home. Child. Cynthia and Drew will be together. And so in their room, they have a king size bed and 2 twin beds. Here we go. Y'all always putting Drew in some twin bed situation. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm like, girl, Drew, if you don't use one of them beds and put all your luggage on top of it, that way you don't have to be bending over, rolling your suitcase by the dresser or in the closet or on a chair. And you can just stretch all your stuff out on that other bed and you can enjoy the other bed. You're a little petite woman. You don't need a whole bunch of room. You'll be fine. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so what did they do? They arm wrestled, and Drew got the king size bed, but she gave it to Cynthia out of respect. She's like, you go ahead, whatever. So Shamia and Kelly are chilling in their suite. Shamia tells her that Drew took a picture, put it on social media, and tagged her in it. And it says you got to watch out for people who do interviews and create imaginary beefs. And then Shamia responded to her tweet, I guess it was on Twitter. She was like, yeah, like another lie, cutie pie, because the picture was cute. She said, is there another lie going on here? But you know what? Drew tagged Shamia and not she tagged Portia's hair brand. Not necessarily Portia, but Go Naked. I saw it. Did y'all see it on there? So Shamia says she didn't know if she want to be happy or she want to be mad. Like she trying to call Drew a little bipolar. Like she don't know what angle Drew was coming at. So Kelly says, well, maybe you guys can talk. You know, remember y'all, she calls Drew Dranocchio. So maybe you can talk to Dranocchio and like just release it. And Shamia's like, what? Why? Why didn't I do that? So, honey, Drew and Auntie Cynthia, they check on their bedrooms. Everything looked pretty cool. Was it the twin beds weren't bad? They looked pretty deluxe with some good old cushion, good blankets and stuff on it. And so looked all cushiony. That's what I was gonna say. Looked all cushiony. So Drew won the arm wrestling, and like I told y'all, and so she gives the king size bed to Cynthia. So nothing's wrong. Oh God, okay. Here we go. Okay, hold on, y'all. Okay, so they go out onto the balcony. Auntie Cynthia's talking about Amsterdam. That's her new boo. Saw pictures of him. He's cute. And so she asked Drew, like, what sign is she? She says, I'm a Taurus. And so Auntie Cynthia's like, oh, Amsterdam is a Taurus too. And so Drew's like, we're loyal, passionate. And so, Cynthia's like, yeah, he is. He's affectionate. He loves to hold my hand. And so, honey, she Amsterdam's a lot because he's a lot younger. He's tall. He has long locks, and he's always ready to swing that pole because he's a much younger than Cynthia. And I'm like, how young is he, girl? Is he in his 20s? But probably, I guess maybe he might be in his late 30s. So Drew says she isn't dating and she's just meeting people for friendships. And so Cynthia's like, and get the benefits. You need those benefits. And so uh, Drew's like, nah, I don't need benefits right at this moment, because hello, Cynthia, Ralph lives downstairs. She's supposed to be boning some random, or she's supposed to go off on her weekends. Like she need to get her mind right, and she's doing the right thing. So Drew tells her that she met up with Portia and they only met for 15 minutes, honey, before the princess stormed out. She says she brought up how Portia was filming with Ralph. And she said the only reason I could think why they would get together is to talk about me. Right, exactly. And Auntie Cynthia says Portia will get her lick back, honey. And I was like, well, what if Drew get her next lick back and she go over there and visit Simon? Uh-huh. At the house that Portia can't film at. Uh-huh. And get in the car and ride with Simon in the car she can't film in. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That would be a great lick back. And it really isn't a lick back because Dennis is not fooling with Portia. They're just co-parents. Ralph and Drew are married trying to get divorced. Big difference. So they all head out for the night. So Portia's in the same van as Drew. It's quiet in that van. Phaedra's in the other van talking about the funeral business, child. She talking about people are I can't say this word. Okay, I got it. People are frying to meet Jesus. Turn the F into a D, people and take the R out. People are frying to meet Jesus. I thought that was hilarious. Shamia says she want to come see how people bodies are embalmed. And so they're talking about how, people always have the last breath when they're getting embalmed after they pass away. She says some of them poop. And then who was that? That was Shamia talking about, and they got hard, poles. They pole be hard. And the fake was like, no, I haven't seen that. Child. So at the table, Angela announces that she is celebrating her 8th wedding anniversary. I'm like, tonight, right now, today, with these bunch of bros that's all getting divorced, everybody married, raise your hand. It's only gonna be with Britt and Shamia. Goodness gracious. What a way to celebrate a wedding anniversary with a whole bunch of people getting divorced. Going through a divorce, been divorced, child. Brits tell them about the naked guy at the window, and honey, Phaedra says she want to see what he doing, what he working with, honey. And they're like, well, maybe he's a masseuse. And so they bring up, ever having unhappy ending. Portia says she has never. Oh no. And I'm like, baby, how come production did not roll the tape back to Bolo? Y'all remember Bolo in the Carolinas when Kenya was ordering food for herself? Portia, you didn't have a happy ending with Bolo? You can answer back. Go on and tag me. Let the besties know, honey. So, but Kelly may have, excuse me. Kelly may have had one. She not saying. She was being real quiet. But that means she's had it before. So, and she addresses it in the after show. Kelly announces the reset of the group and wants to start with Shamia and Drew. And somebody said, oh God, it's about to go left. And she was like, no, it's going to go right. And then somebody said, and then it'll go left. Well, Drew wants to clear the air. And so she's like, Shamia with this lap dog, and you beefing on social media. What's up? Drew said you took information back. Let's address that. So she talking about PJ and this comment about the college fund. And frankly, besties, I know you. I don't. Well, I'm sure you too. We tired of hearing about this. We tired. We tired. These beefs are fake. Can we just make up and just move on and just have a fun season for the rest of the season? I mean, it's already season episode 12. Can we just not? This beef, this funk with Drew is so fake. It's so fake. And she's handling it well. Somebody who's going through a crazy divorce where your husband is downstairs and you got kids involved and you're trying to produce music and write, you're trying to, sing, make a new album, and you're trying to do this show, and he down there now, he dipping with the co-worker. Oh, child. Drew, you better than me, honey. Whew. So Shamia's like, yep, I ain't with the fake friendships. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So Drew says, a hit dog will holler. Child, why did she say that? And so Drew said, well, she was at the table barking. And Shamia was like, it was. Uh-huh. And I'm like, well, well, Shamia, that confirmed that you are a lap dog. You confirmed it. You started barking. That was like, yep, I sure am. Arf, 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 arf. Now remember in the after show last week, she said she regret doing that. Kelly told Drew, now if she tries to fight you, you are on your own. And I'm like, there go Kelly. Now she's being Shamia's lap dog. So Shamia's like, you know what? I don't want to hear all this. Trick you. You can kiss my ass. And so Shamia asked Drew for accountability. And it's like, but you're not, Shamia, I don't recall you being accountable for what you did. You went back and told Angela. So Portia was like, Portia tells Drew that she needs to apologize to Shamia for calling her a lap dog. Angela tells Shamia, but you have intimate conversations and you run back. Okay? You over here talking to us about her, and then you run back with what was said. Exactly, Angela. And that's why we love Angela. Phaedra jumps in and she says, you was having an intimate conversation with Shamia about her best friend. Ooh, that's what you. Yes, good one, Phaedra. Portia says it's like yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say. Angela's like, Shamia comes to us with her grievances about you, Portia. Shamia says, y'all making it seem like I'm coming to y'all to talk about her when I'm just responding. Girl, be quiet. Portia's like, well, I find it odd that y'all asking her about our friendship and not asking me. Kelly was like, do you feel like you're being a good friend to Shamia? Lapdog. This is gonna be the word that never goes away, y'all. Lapdog is gonna be the new word. Portia is like, me and her have talked. Kelly said, well, you just said no one asked you, so I'm asking you. Be quiet, Kelly. So Portia's like, no, I said prior to our conversation, we're good now. So we all thought. So Shamia says, it feels good that, Portia is speaking up for me. I bet, lapdog. So Kelly's like, cool, okay, let's move past this as a group. Okay, Drew, because you have an issue with everyone except for Cynthia, uh, Portia. So Drew is like, wait. I don't have an issue with Portia. She has an issue with me. Portia said, no, I don't. In the beginning, I didn't use the best words, and they referring to as Shamia's event where she was just cussing and fussing. Portia says she needed time. Drew interrupts to say, well, thank you for saying that because you've never said that before, so thank you. Portia appreciates that. She agrees with the others that this is growth because they're like, okay, growth, there's growth. And she's like, yeah, it's growth. Portia ain't ready to grow, okay? Portia is fine like she is 13 years old. So Portia's like, well, I don't expect a friendship with you, Drew, because, now that you said I'm dating Future, allegedly, and says she brought up Black because they're sleeping together. Like, you're sleeping with him, right? Oh my goodness, we still on this. So production asks, who told you that, Portia? And Portia said, Dennis. Then she act like it slipped out. And she's like, can you take that out? No, ain't nobody taking that out, girl. So they go back and forth and back again. And Kelly stops them before it turns into a fist fight, right? And so Kelly is like, it doesn't feel good to film, work with somebody's baby daddy, husband, whatever, and then Portia gonna put an ad to it. Yeah, and behind my back at that. You went behind my back. And Kelly agrees and breaks out this rose quartz crystal that she's holding up in the air. And she said, oh, you can only talk if you're holding this. And so Portia's like, what is that? I only know about Jesus. She like, this is good energy, this, that, and that. So she like gives it to Drew. Drew's like, she assures Portia that nothing happened between her and Dennis. We know. And so she says, I could have texted you. That was a misstep on my part. Now, hold up, Drew. You did your part, in my opinion. You called her several times to talk to her, woman to woman. I mean, we got to get out of this text phone call thing. Like, regardless, both of them is communication, okay? And the whole point is Portia was not responding, was not answering, was not returning her calls or her text messages. Drew said on the after show that she was blocking her and all this and all that, and she was going through some stuff. She didn't want to talk. I mean, it doesn't matter. Portia was not receiving Drew. Can we be clear with that? That's how I heard it in the beginning of this season. Whew. And so Drew goes on and said, Dennis told me that, you gave him your blessing. And I heard Portia say he lied. He always lied. He lied to you about love and relationship and everything. He's lied. He is a liar. You know that. Portia receives it. She receives it. They're good. So Britt says to Phaedra, oh goodness, that Apollo and his wife was invited to her event through her husband, Mike. She says she doesn't know them. There's no malice. I just wanted you to know. Phaedra's like, he ain't my husband no more. This is her confessional. He ain't my husband. He's somebody else's husband. He ain't my problem. So she tells her, no problems. At the table, she says, no problems. And Miss Phaedra had to do a little facial expression, honey. So Kelly is happy that boundaries are being set and they're moving forward, and they're going to leave the mess at the table, honey. And next week, sound like it's going to be some mess. They're going to be coming for Britt next week. And they should. They need to talk about that event, honey. And like Shamia said, oh, and Britt, we didn't forget that we left your event still hungry. Uh-huh. And that was the end of the episode, besties. So, hey, Drew and Portia, it took 12 episodes for them to work it out. And it is done. So it is done. What we have next week, besties. Don't forget to drop down in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about this week's episode. Like my video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And make sure your notification bell is on. Ding dong. So that you know each and every time I post my content. And I'll be back, besties, tonight with Basketball Wives. Bye, besties.